What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler coming at you with another great video. All right, today we are going to talk about fall to winter transition drop shotting and why is it different and that kind of thing. Some baits I like to use, the way I like to rig them, and we're going to go over some situational stuff here to help you guys catch more fish. If you're new to the channel and like this kind of content, hit that subscribe button down there below. Join the Average Angler community. I really appreciate it. And to those of you that have been here for so long, thank you very much. All right, so we are going to talk about drop shotting that fall to winter transition. Now, right now outside, it is pouring. I mean, it's been pouring all day. I've got a lake in my backyard. I might start making a few casts here in a little bit. It's not really a lake, it's just a flooded patio. The key for drop shotting for me in this fall to winter transition, okay? So basically our fish have gone deeper. That's kind of the time I'm talking about. Now, if I'm going to break out a drop shot, I really need to know that I need to have located some groups of fish. Now, the ways to do that is with your electronics. Sometimes it's just 2D, you know, idle around in the boat, kayak, whatever you have, and just look around. Fish tend to group up this time of year. A drop shot's not really a great way to cover water and find them. So we need to be more efficient. And a lot of times that is going to be by using electronics. Now, if you're a bank angler, some of the things you can do really is high percentage areas, right? Points. If you know there's drop-offs in the area where you get to deeper water faster, those are always good types of areas. If you got rock piles, humps, something like that, if you got some wood in the water somewhere that you know is in a little deeper water, those are good places to look to. All right, now this is a time of year where I like to make a few adjustments to my drop shot game. Now, most of the time I am going to be nose hooking my baits. So one hook I really like is this. Okay, this is the Spear Point GP Finesse. It's a size 3, okay? You say size 3, that's kind of small. Well, yes and no. It is fairly small, but that size 3 is going to be used for this bait here. Okay, it's pretty thin bait. This is the Phat thin worm. This one happens to be a 30 pack. So what I like to do with this bait, rig it, push it up from bottom to top, about a 1/4 inch in there, push it on the hook, and then it's just going to tuck right into that little pocket in the hook there. So it holds it really nice. That fish eats it. The point is right there and exposed. And it really allows that worm to move around naturally in the water's current. I'm not going to do a whole lot of shaking of the worm this time of year. It's really going to be more letting it sit on a taut line and sliding it across the bottom a little bit, maybe 1 foot, 2 foot, and then let it sit again, okay? So I really like that thin worm because of its liveliness. And remember, the Phat worms, the slinky worm and the thin worm are both fairly buoyant baits, so they're going to sit out level. I've done some videos in the past in the pool where it shows you that and how a robo worm kind of sits tail down a little bit, and the Phat sits much more level, just looks kind of natural to me. So that's one bait that I will use. Now, a lot of things are going to dictate when I'm going to go to a drop shot. It's not really my thing. It's not my favorite thing to do. There's a lot of other things I'd rather be doing, right? Throwing a jig, for instance, throwing a shaky head or a free rig. But there are times where we need to do this. Some of those can be dictated by the moon. If you've got a full moon out all night, maybe there's a good bite first thing in the morning and then it tapers off, which is what I saw last weekend as we were coming off that full moon. Now, they've also dropped the water level in my lake 3 feet, which, again, the fish don't really like, puts them in a little bit of a foul mood. So these are times where I will go to the drop shot. Now, conditions like wind, rain, moon, like I mentioned the moon already, all these things can change what I'm going to do. If I got rain and it's a fairly warm storm, I'm probably going to do some moving baits a little bit more. But if I have a cold front where temperatures really drop, then I may break out the drop shot. Again, I'm not going to use it for a search bait. I'm really going to rely on my down imaging and my side imaging to locate groups of fish and then try and figure out ways to catch them. And one of the other baits that I really like this time of year that's done real well by me is this Strike King Dream Shot. And this is the 4.5-inch version of the Dream Shot. This color is I think it's KVD Magic. Yes, it is. KVD Magic. Okay. It's kind of a watermelon with kind of a bluish hue inside, like pearlescent type hue. You can kind of see it there. But it's got a bait fish type profile. Now this worm is a little bit thicker here. And while I could put it on that spear point or even use a size 1 or 2 instead of the 3, I really like to go to these decoy hooks at this time. But I'm still going to rig it pretty much the same way. I just got a lot more bite there in case the plastic balls up. Now you could use either hook with the worm. With the thin worm, I like to downsize the profile so they're not keying on it or seeing the hook. And I don't even know if they see the hook anyway, to be honest with you. But this hook has a lot of bite. Okay, as you can see, a lot of bite there. This is the Big Bite Finesse. That is a 1/0. I could certainly downsize it to a size 1. But again, we're going to be doing a similar type of action with this. I'm really just trying more to present a profile, more slide and hold than shaking of the rod tip this time of year. Now, one thing I do like to do also is I change the rod. And I want to go to a rod. This is a iRod 731. So it is a medium light. Okay, it's got a really fast tip. A lot of softness there. The reason I like that this time of year is I want to allow the fish to take the bait and kind of move off with it. Let that rod start loading. As the rod starts to load and I feel the weight of the fish moving, then I'm just going to reel set into them and lift that rod tip up. Okay. Reel and raise the rod tip at the same time. Maybe a little accelerated movement there. It doesn't take a lot to get these small hooks in a fish's mouth. They're very sharp. Color is really going to be dictated by forage base, whether they're on a shad or whether they're on crawdads or maybe bluegill. You can tell when you catch them if you lip the fish and they got real long teeth. They've probably been eating shad for quite some time. Now, depth, where they're going to be this time of year, it can be all over the place, right? Shallow to medium to deep. Most of what I was seeing last week, the fish were deep already, and I really don't know why, other than there's no cover up shallow, because the water was 65 degrees. So I'm really hoping these storms that we have for the next week are going to drop the water temperature, maybe even dirty it up a little bit, pull those fish back up so we can have some reaction fishing going on. So your temperatures, your wind, and sunlight penetration can all make a difference in these strategies. Again, we're going to have to adjust bait colors along with that if the water's got some stain to it. And maybe early under low light situations, we use something with a good contrast in it, meaning multicolored worm, MM3 for instance, right? These are more, well, the thin worm here is more of a single tone. Even though it's got lots of flake in there, this one is green pumpkin candy. It's really a great looking worm. It's very subtle. And this is what I go to when the bite gets really tough. If you want a 4-inch, 4.5-inch, you just snip some off and there you go. You've got, now as far as that KVD Magic, you can kind of see there's a bit of a contrast there. Although this is somewhat of a lighter transparent color, I have had good success with it in pretty much slightly stained and clear water. It works really well, okay? Muddy water, I don't know that it's quite visible enough, and I don't really necessarily believe that in muddy water, a drop shot's the best thing to use. It's not that they won't eat it. They probably will, but they'll have a harder time finding it. You can always go to a dark colored worm in that case. Or again, something contrasting with some chartreuse or something. Okay, I also up my weight typically, especially if I'm fishing deeper, because again, I don't want to move that bait a whole lot. So I use a little bit bigger weight, up to a 3/8 depending on depth. So that's going to put a little bit of a load in that medium light rod tip. But again, it's going to help keep that bait in place. And if you got a windy day or something, you really could use that. Otherwise, we might be moving the bait too fast. Sometimes when these fish get finicky, they just don't want it moving around. They want it sitting there, and they want to watch it for a bit before they eat it. Now, if I have cover around and rigging a nose hook is going to be prone to snagging, then I'm going to use that cover shot hook. Okay, I think everybody knows what a cover shot is. If not, I'll put a link in the description so you can see what the cover shot hook is. It is my Texas rig or weedless style drop shot hook that I will use. All right, so for an alternate bait, and what I'm going to do is I will talk about this bait a little more later this week. But another bait that works really well in this situation is a spoon. And it could be a Castmaster, could be a Little Buddy. There's tons of little spoons that you can use. And some are much heavier than others. It just depends on the fish's mood. But we will talk about the spoon. Really only applies to guys who are out on the water. You can fish it from the bank, but a spoon tends to snag a lot when you're moving it at angles. So the drop shot is a great technique as we move into winter, because when those fish are in a funk, not really interested in chasing things down or biting bigger baits, a drop shot is a great way to pick off some fish, load the boat, get some bites from the bank, whatever it may be, wherever you're fishing, on a day where you may not have had any success. And the drop shot, as far as baits go, it's really endless. I mean, you can do all kinds of different things. You can also, although I said I like to nose hook like this is, right? You can also wacky rig, and this is something that Aaron Martins used to do from time to time. You can wacky rig your drop shot. Okay, the thing is, you're going to get a little more action this way because you're going to get both sides moving. Maybe that's what they need to bite. Maybe it's not. You really need to take the temperature of the fish's mood when you're out fishing. I like to say there's golden rules for the fish, do this, do that. I think we've all kind of figured out that there are no golden rules. It's whatever's going on in the fish's world that dictates these things. And I've had days where I didn't think they were eating a drop shot, and I made a color change, and all of a sudden it was on like Donkey Kong. So one thing I want to encourage you to do is to go through some colors. If you're not getting bit, before you give up on it, maybe try another color. Try something that's out of the realm of what you were just doing. Maybe you were using a MM3. Maybe try a Aaron's Magic. Maybe try a Mad Hatter, right? That black and red swirl color that I have in this trailer here. But change up some colors, try a different size, maybe shorten a worm some. All of these little small details can make a really big difference in your success. And I've noticed it a lot with drop shotting. Drop shotting, your baits need to be, they just seem to be more color specific at times, if you know what I mean. The other day we talked about is color matter. I believe it does. I believe it does even more so when you're drop shotting for some reason. There's a lot of great worms out there, guys. I love the thin worm, and I will just snip it down if I need a shorter worm. This time of year, I just like that smaller, thinner profile of the thin worm, whereas in the springtime, I will go to a slinky worm and use that instead. It's a bigger profile, a little fatter worm, and it works really well. So, all right. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day. I'm Sean the Average Angler. We'll see you on the next one.